Okay, and it looks like we are live, which is great. Um, this show isn't really about anything in particular. In fact, I don't know. I might have a guest pop in here in a little while. I'm not sure. Help me talk. My good friend Tyler Durden is his screen name. And what's really funny and kind of ironic about that is if you've ever seen, you know, the movie, thing in particular, in fact, what up, Winter Fresh? How you doing? So, yeah, so basically he started out as like Tyler Durden. He was this crazy kid, trying to destroy the world and himself, and then fast forward and he suddenly is the guy with the dead end job and the wife and the kids and all that stuff, and it's kind of really funny. So there's that whole thing. Hey, Winter Fresh, not too much, just streaming. So let's see. Okay, so here's a funny story. Well, it's not that funny, but I just felt like ranting about some shit. So I'll start off with what I saw in Walmart the other day. That was pretty entertaining. Basically, I'm walking through Walmart and I'm hearing this racket, and I see like a crowd of people, a small crowd of people, and there's like a security guard and this like overweight white lady, and I see a black dude on a rascal, those rascals that they have in Walmart, and he is like going off, like yelling about something crazy. And as I get closer to him, he's being escorted out of the store by the security, and the big lady, the big white lady, is his wife or girlfriend or whatever. And he is just going off about how much he hates Trump and how he wants someone to quote unquote smoke the bastard. I just wish I could have gotten a photo of that, because it was actually really kind of hilarious. Anyway, so that was funny. And then the other morning, I think it was 2 days ago, I woke up and there were, if you guys are familiar with homeless carts, the carts that the homeless people push around, there was like two in front of my house. There's like one directly in front of my house and then another one down the street. And for anyone who doesn't know, I live in the ghetto. All right. It's a kind of a rough neighborhood. So, I'm still hoping to cash in on some white privilege at some point here, but, you know, oh, what else? I have no idea. Oh, wait, no, I totally lied. So the other day, about a week and a half ago, I've come walking out of my house, I opened the door and I'm walking out, and I happened to look down, and we've had this this stray mother cat in our neighborhood, and so she has been hanging out and getting fed here. And so I go to walk out of the door, and I happen to notice her. She's sitting right in front of the door, like right in front of it. I almost stepped on her. And then I look, and she has a kitten, like a maybe under an hour old kitten. It's all cleaned up, but it's just like right there with her on the porch. So I got a box and put some towels in it, and I put her in there with it. And throughout the day, she kept moving them out of the box. It was really hot that day, and putting them back in front of the door. So that was kind of fun. But anyway, so finally, we decided to take her and get like this cage, like a big cage that you would, put like a dog in or something. And so we put her and the 4 kittens in the cage, because that way she could be, out of the way of the door and kind of in something, but, get a breeze, because it was so hot that day. Well, anyway, she did not like the cage. And when I came home, she was gone, and she had taken all the kittens to like several houses down and moved them under the house. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, that's not good. But she left one behind that was kind of the runt of the litter. So basically, I've been bottle feeding the kitten for the last week and a half. And so that me and the old lady have to switch off. So if I'm not bottle feeding the cat, she's bottle feeding the cat. And when she goes to work, I watch it, and vice versa. So that's how that's been going. So then the cat stopped eating last night. stopped eating the bottle last night, so we had to take the cat to the vet. So, yes, kennel. Thank you. Went to fresh. I could not think of the word. Yes, giant cage, a kennel. Thank you. Anyway, so we took the cat to the vet, and they said, it's temperature's a little low, so they admitted it. And so we're like, okay, cool. So the kitten, the week and a half old kitten now at the vet. So we're driving back, and I get home, I get my fake dinner. It's like, I don't know, like 2 in the morning or 1 in the morning at this point. I think it was like 2. I don't remember. But anyway, then all of a sudden, the old lady calls me. She's on her way back to her house, and she has a flat tire. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay, so I meet her, drive out, and go and pretty much, what the hell was I saying? Oh yeah, and so I'm driving out 30 minutes to this fucking parking lot that she pulled over into to change a tire at like 2:30 in the morning. So anyway, I don't know what the fuck they did here, but like the tire would not come off. It was just fucking stuck. It was like they used Loctite on this shit. So I'm doing this whole thing, and I'm jumping on it, and I'm staying on it. Anyway, hold on a second here. I gotta. Sure. Went to fresh. I can check out your second channel. Shoot a link into the description or something. I think we all want to check out your second channel. Anywho, so I'm sitting there, and I'm there till like 5 in the morning because I can't get this fucking tire off. And so the old lady's like, well, screw it. I'm just going to call AAA. I'm a man. Okay. But, and I'm like, admitting defeat, not being able to change a damn tire is like, kind of a bruise to the old ego. So I'm like, fuck, well, let me try something else. So I go through my trunk, and I have a jacket, or not a jack, but I have a fucking, what do you call it? A tire iron. I have a tire iron, but it's the wrong size, so I can't get the thing off. So I'm just like, well, fuck. So I have to sit here on the fucking curb with my thumb up my ass and wait for the goddamn tow truck guy to show up and fucking change the fucking tire for me. I'm just like, oh, great. So he shows up, and he takes like 1,000 hours to take pictures of the license plate and the VIN number. And oh my God, it's so crazy. So anyway, he pulls out his giant professional, it's that fucking T thing, that you spin the lug nuts off with. I can't remember what they're called right now. I'm sure someone knows. But anyway, he's torquing that thing, and it busts right in half. It just snaps, and done deal. I was like, oh, I feel so much fucking better now because this guy just broke like a huge, professional tool doing this thing. So I felt way better. So then he goes and he uses the same little shitty tool that was in the car, and he uses the handle to the jack as a breaker bar. And they must have Loctite on those because that snapped like it had Loctite on it. Plus, So anyway, that all gets done, and I get home. And so then I've been waking up every couple hours to call and check on the cat at the vet and all this other shit. So it's just been a fun morning, and I just felt like venting about it. So there's that whole thing. Let's see. Okay, so there we go. So I'm gonna try and get Mr. Tyler Durden to jump in here with me and help me run this into the ground a little faster, because that's a good thing. Anywho, what else? So okay, this is always fun. So there's a church on I live in like I said before, I live in kind of a rough neighborhood. There's a church at the end of the street on each side of where I live. And one is like a Spanish church that does its stuff all in Spanish. And they go mostly at night, and it's really loud. They do a lot of musical stuff in there or whatever. And that's fun. And then at the extreme other end, hey, EB3000, a real shit show. This is an actual shit show. But strap in, have a beer. I am. So there's a church on either side of the house, on either side of the block. And so the one at the other side that's not the Spanish church is like this really weird, I don't know what you would call it, but they mostly they just give out free food to like quote unquote homeless people. But a lot of the homeless people that show up for the free food are kind of more I guess you would say drug addicts and crackheads and stuff. They're not they are not your standard homeless fare. And so since they've been doing that, we started getting homeless encampments in the actual neighborhood. It's kind of fun. But so basically, yeah, that's so what was I saying? Oh yeah. So, you walk out, and on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is when they give out the food. My friggin' neighbors on the street, they go down there and they get the free food. And I'm like, of course, the people that are going and getting it, I don't, really want to, well, no one knows who they are, but they're kind of on meth. So it's just one of those things. And that's kind of funny. But then so it just turns into this thing, and it's like, I don't know, it's kind of surreal because like you will have just the street is just littered with people that are teaming and walking up and down, and they're talking to themselves and they're yelling at nobody. And they have these carts. This lady who left her cart in front of my house, she has her cart is full of stuffed animals, and she like yells about like white people oppressing her and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And she carries on these full-on tangential conversations with herself where she's just going off, right? And then she stops because I'm out front, and she stops and she turns and looks at me, and she's like, "Excuse me, sir, do you happen to have a glass of water?" Like perfectly sane, like you would never know. And I'm just like, oh wow. So I got her a bottle of water because I'm not a total dick. Well, I am, but I did it anyway. So, Jesus. So there was all that stuff. Okay. Oh, that is hilarious. EB3000 said he saw Bernie Sanders beat up a homeless guy with another homeless guy's shoe over half a hot dog. I'm just gonna pretend that really happened. I hope it did. That's like the best thing. So yeah, no, it's insane, man. So okay, and so this is another thing. Is in the area we have this giant facility that has like 15, 20-foot fences with razor wire because it is actually where they put criminally insane people. And I've known a few people that worked up there. And it's in the city limits, or no, actually it's out of the city limits, but it's still really close. And what happens, I guess, is when the state doesn't have money to pay for certain people, the lower level insane people get booted onto the street just because they don't have anywhere else to put them. They don't have family, and the state can't cover their expenses anymore. So they're like, well, you're done, you're out. So that's why we have so many, and they all congregate in this area now on my street because, they're giving out free food to anyone who shows up. But the best part was, so, I mean, I'm kind of painting this picture. You get it. It's like this church, they're giving out like donuts and coffee and loaves of bread. It's the weirdest thing to see a guy walking down the street eating a loaf of bread. I've seen it. It's weird. And they like to drop their trash in my yard. That I love. Nothing like that. But so then I'm standing out because I've learned to go out and kind of watch the area because we've had a lot of break-ins in the area since they've been coming around. So I hang out on the porch and I'm watching, and this black dude with like cornrows, he's probably about 50. He pulls up in a 300 and he parks at the opposite end of the street by the other church, and he's wearing like kind of a ratty what do you call that? Like a ratty sweatshirt and some old jeans. And he goes and walks down to the church and gets a bunch of free food, and then comes back and gets in his relatively new 300 and drives off. And it's so scammy. It's just like, I don't know, man. Whatever. What are you going to do? But yes, no, she has stuffed animals. It's really weird. She's like, She lives on the street now. I mean, the cops will come and chase her off every now and then, but pretty much they'll leave, and a few days later, she's right back, and she lives on the street, just here on the corner. And so it's, yeah, I mean, I don't know. So hopefully she wasn't, you know, in Ward B or anything. You know, that's where they put the dangerous ones. I remember this girl I knew, she worked there, and her friend was a one of the security guards, basically. I don't remember what they called them, but they called them like a medical term, but basically they were security guards. Like, so basically this dude said that there was this guy that they used to have to restrain on the reg because he would start freaking out and yelling that the devil was in his arm, and he would try and like cut his arm off or stab people that tried to stop him from doing that. That was, so yeah, there's some interesting stuff. So so EB300 says no different than a corporation using a tax loophole. It's a little different. It's a little sleazier because, I mean, that's a loophole. This was just straight up some dude who had money going and getting free shit. Like, it's a little sleazier. Maybe just because I'm seeing it in person, but, you know, yeah, I guess in principle it's about the same thing. Oh, did you finally? EB3000 says he finally got his arm off. Well, you know what? You know, feel free to stop by. You know where the church is, I'm sure. I'll come say hello. I'll look for the guy missing the arm. So, oh dear. You guys are great. I absolutely, you guys amuse the hell out of me. So, you know what? Okay, so here's something else. So I'm going to tell you guys another funny story. Recently, I did it was posted on the channel. I did a motion comic for diversity in comics. And while we were debating the price, he basically just kind of vanished. And I was like, what's going on? He said, give me your information for payment. I did. And then I was negotiating a higher fee when he just kind of disappeared. And then I was like, well, what's the deal? And then basically he got back to me way later and was like, oh, well, you know, I was afraid my channel would get a strike for the bad language, which I have it up, and they did basically limit the monetization on it, but they didn't strike the channel or anything because of the foul language. So I am going to be doing an edited version, you know, a very PC version, and putting that up shortly. So if you haven't seen that, check it out, and the new one will be up shortly. Let's see. EB3000 says, you can't punish a guy for having a few too many bucks. Where do I draw the line? If you can afford a loaf of bread, go buy fucking bread. I guess that's where I draw the line. It's like stealing from the 99-cent store. It's kind of ghetto, you know what I mean? It's like, if you're going to steal from like Walmart because they're a giant corporation. But, you know, the 99-cent store, it's $1. You can afford $1. Don't steal from the 99-cent store. I guess just steal with discretion. So, yeah. So that's all that fun stuff. What else we got going on here? So let's see. Ranted about bullshit. Talked about more bullshit. What do you guys want to talk about? You guys want to bullshit about anything or anything? What videos do you want to see? Okay, it looks like I got 3 people up in this bitch. Tell me what you want to see. I actually don't know if the place was running out of food. EB3000 asked if the place was running out of food. I actually don't know. I wish they would run out of food permanently and close down. I know that's a horrible thing to say, but, and you know, I appreciate what they're doing. I just kind of wish that it was handled better, or maybe not in a neighborhood, maybe in a commercial area. But, you know, I mean, it's cool. It's just people are abusing it. People are abusing the system. I mean, I guess that's just part of it, but I don't know. Play my videos. What videos do you have, EB3000? I don't know what's going on here. And no more, and please, no one, you know what, you can hit me up on Twitter. I got that going on just so I could communicate with you guys a little better. They gave me a really stupid handle. I guess apparently the new counterculture is a little long, so it's THE, the new NEW counter, CONTERC1. And that is my Twitter handle. So if you guys want to send me anything over there, feel free. You know, I never get sick of inappropriate photos. I shouldn't say that because that's all I'm going to get now. Yeah, I don't tweet either, but it seems to be the only way that it seems to be. It's better than Facebook. It's better than Facebook. Actually, no, it's probably about the same as Facebook. Well, regardless, we have the comment section. Let's use the comment section. So, do you guys want to see more like more kind of entertainment stuff, like Star Wars junk or like comic book junk, or do you want to see more political stuff, more conspiracy stuff? I can do it all. In fact, I have videos in the works pretty much taking up all that, touching all those bases. I just need to know what you guys want to see, so I kind of, you know, give you what you want to see instead of putting up a bunch of stuff that nobody cares about, because that's always fun. Hey, oh, a new video. Oh, great. I don't care. So let's see here. Winterfresh says Amino is better than Facebook. I have never heard of Amino. I will check it out. EB3000. I don't know how Hangouts works. Can you go to my channel? And then we should collab. You know what? Sure, man. Hit me up somewhere. Like, do you have email or something? I think email works. Or, you know, whatever. You can tweet at me. You can send me a PM on Twitter. I just said that because of the whole I don't tweet thing. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. I don't think my good buddy Tyler is going to be jumping in to this mess. I think his wife still has him in the cuck cage. That's like a thing. You can look it up. It was really weird how he kind of came out to me as being like a huge cuck. He basically was all like, so, you know, the doctor was examining my wife and he had his arm in her, you know, up to the elbow. And he was like looking at me carrying on a conversation. I said, that's really uncomfortable. He said, no, it was fine. He says, I'm just really surprised doctors still make house calls. So, and I said, oh, that's interesting. And then he said, yeah. And then afterwards, she let me out of the cuck cage. And I said, oh, I see. That's good. You know, so yeah. So I don't think he's going to get to, jump in with us. EB3000, cool, man. I will drop you a message and we will see what is up. It's not like, you know, like, I don't know. I have no idea. I really don't care. I'm kind of flexible. So let's see what else. So I read that, was it, they passed some law in Hawaii about open carry. So now, because of some kind of, I don't know, legal, I didn't look into it too much, so I'm going to sound like an idiot here. But now basically California is going to have open carry, you know, permitted open carry, but we haven't had it since the 70s when the Black Panthers marched on Washington with rifles over their shoulders. And the politicians kind of shit themselves and said, hey, this open carry thing is bad. Let's get rid of it. But it's going to be back. So anyone in CA, you can now carry a gun. You now carry a gun out in the open legally with a permit. So that should be interesting. Let's see. What do we got here? Let's check the chat. Thank you, Winterfresh. I will message you also. And I don't know that it looks like a video link from EB3000. I will check that out also. Hawaii case forced it. Yes, exactly. That is very true. EB3000. It totally forced it. So yeah, so if you're in California, now's the time. It's going to be interesting. to say the least. And I'm going to pop on Twitter here really quick and see if anyone has tweeted anything at me. Does not look like it. So I guess none of you guys that are watching tweet. All two of you. Still, though, this is nice. This is nice. This is intimate. You know, it's like we're hanging out. Just you guys and me. We're having a conversation. It's the way it should be. Not 1,000 screaming people. Let's see here. Yes, CB3000, I do agree with you. I do think crime rates are going to plummet. And or increase drastically. One of the two. They could increase and then plummet. As in, you know, self-defense. Might be. You know what? I can't wait to see what happens, though. I really can't. It's gonna be really interesting because it's such a liberal state. So even with open carry, is anyone going to do it, or is it going to be like, oh, I would never do that because, you know, So I don't know. It's something I am eagerly awaiting to see unfold. So I was going to do. In the real, yeah, no, let's see here. Let me see. Winifresh says, yeah, I like chats like in the way. Yes, exactly. When you have like way too many people, it's scrolling really fast. You can't see. I really like connecting with you guys. Honestly, I've read some comments from some of you, and holy shit, you guys are awesome. You're really friggin' hilarious. And you guys are sticking around and chatting this up, and that's awesome. And I really appreciate you guys hanging out. So thank you all for stopping by and hanging out. Let's do this a little longer until I run out of shit to ramble about. But I felt like I was going somewhere. Oh, I was going to do a video. That's what I was going to throw out there into the ethers. I was going to do a video on basically the whole Satanic Panic Pizzagate thing. Is that something that you think you guys want to see? It'd be really long, like kind of like a 40-minute documentary, because that's a really deep, creepy subject that could very feasibly have some pieces of truth to it, shall we say? You know what, Winifresh? Yes, I do like palmistry. I grew up, and that was popular where I grew up, and so yes, I know a little bit about it. I can't do it, but I do enjoy it. I think it's fun. So, nitwits. Okay, wait, hold on. I missed this one from EB3000. Nitwits will sort them. Oh yes, absolutely. They will sort themselves out in a hurry. You know, can you imagine? Okay, guys, remember the knockout game a couple years ago, where like just black dudes would run up and randomly punch folks, like usually elderly white people, which always seemed kind of like you want to talk about punching down. I mean, that's kind of jacked. But can you imagine if now this person was packing? It just kind of, things could end up a little different. That's all I'm saying, you know. Just kind of funny. So let's see what else. So there's that whole thing, and then you know, there was always, of course, good old George Soros keeping things going, even though he hasn't been around as much lately. But he is doing some stuff on the DL behind the scenes that is pretty interesting. He is buying into the whole. He is buying a company that is owning patents on certain types of marijuana. So that's interesting, because why would George Soros? Well, I mean, obviously there's a profit thing in there, but it seems like also anytime he gets involved in something and puts money towards something, there's a longer term goal there. So why is George Soros investing in marijuana? That is something I'm curious about. Let's see what we got here. Winterfresh says, I was studying it today. I have an older sister who does it. She's been doing it for a long time. It's interesting. I think it's really cool. Some of it's really accurate. I've had some people read my palm and it was really accurate. And other people, you know, it was more general. But I think there could be something to it. I don't know. EB3000 happened in Florida last week. What happened in Florida last week? What did I miss? I've been on so many random topics that I'm bouncing around too fast, and I cannot keep up with my own train of thought. So let me know. What else we got here? I should have probably prepared before I came on stream, and maybe drank a little less. I don't know. What are you guys doing on your Saturday night? Are you doing anything? Just hanging out with me? Drinking? Gonna do anything later? Okay, fresh. I think the general ones are called cold readings. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, I mean, that very possibly sounds right. I was at a party and they had hired a palmistry booth, you know, and you walked in and dropped the lady like $5 or something, and she would read your palm. And it was very general. It was very just kind of like, oh, here's this and here's that, and it was, you know, it was just the same typical one you would get anywhere. They don't want to tell you anything too deep at those situations, because it's just a bummer at a party. It's like, what, you know, don't bring that lady back. She was really depressing. So, AB 3000 says knockout game, likened to the guy shoving down the post who shot him in the chest. You know what? I'm so not up on that. I missed that. I'll have to look into that one. I did not know about that. But I would not be surprised if someone wanted to randomly punch me in the face. I may consider shooting them. I'm just saying. I don't know. But yeah, no, that's interesting. I had no idea that was even still a thing anymore after Obama said that what's his name looked like his son or whatever. That kind of spiked, and then the BLM thing spiked, and then once that kind of went away, I didn't really hear about it too much anymore. So I didn't really even know it was still kind of going. Stand Your Ground, Florida in the search. Okay, yeah, I'll check that out. That sounds very interesting. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I'm doxing him or not, but someone who may or may not be joining us happens to be from a part of that state, and that might be interesting to get his take on it, provided he shows up. I love hearing his side of things because he's in the middle of that shit. So there you go. Let's see here. What else? I heard, you know what? I heard something about a similar law in Texas where it was basically an extension of, like, if someone comes into your house or on your property in Texas, you can shoot them. Very similar. But then I also had heard that basically when open carry, or if open carry is legal, you could just shoot someone if they were being an asshole. It was called the Just Needs Killing law, and I asked a friend in Texas about it, and he says, I don't know if that's real or not, but I have heard it, so I'm just curious. Let's see here. Winterfresh says, have I heard of what's happening to New Hampshire? They said it's too white. No, I have not heard that. Wait, you know what? I think I read that online, and I thought it was a joke. Is that real? Is that like a thing that people are saying? Someone's trying to say that New Hampshire is too white? It's funny. Well, I guess Compton's too black, so what are you going to do there? Oh, did I just say that out loud? Shit. I'm so going to get a copyright strike or demonetized or something. I don't know. Whatever. So, let's see. How long have we been going for? That is the question. Let's see. I was born and raised in Texas. EB3000. I was born and raised in Texas, and I've owned guns there. Never heard of that shit. Yeah, you know what? I wasn't sure if it was real either. AKA MIZK. Hate speech. Yes, exactly. And welcome to the shit show. Nice to have you on board. What do you guys want to talk about? We were discussed a lot of crazy shit. We've talked about palmistry most recently, and New Hampshire being too white, and a lot of things. So just oh, awesome. Hello, AKA MIZK. Hello to Montreal also. I hear you guys are super politically correct up there. Like, you guys have the whole, like what is it? You can go to jail if you misgender someone, and I'm so curious how that works. Like, do you have to actually, if you're meeting a person for their first time, do you have to ask them, so excuse me, what gender do you identify as? And then they tell, oh, I identify as a trans werewolf. And then do you have to go, oh, nice to meet you, and what's your pronoun? And then, is that a thing that actually happens? Because it seems so weird. Okay, Winter Fresh. Do you think Trump is going last the full presidency? I mean, health-wise, sure. Assassination-wise, they didn't get Obama, and he was super paranoid. I remember he came to my town, and the security for Obama was so high. It was some of the highest security I have ever heard of. They basically, and it wasn't publicized, I happened to see it firsthand, but basically when he went there, they went 24 hours in advance, and they basically checked the whole area out. The place was thoroughly swept, and then they literally took like trucks and they built a circle around the entire area with these trucks, like these wagons and these semis and shit. So you weren't getting in there like at all, and you had to buy a ticket to get into his actual speech. So if that's standard presidential security, then yeah, I think he'll be okay. So Bill, yes, Bill C16. Awesome, thank you. I love having facts. That's a good one. So have you AKA MIZK? Let me know if I'm saying that right. Have you had to do this? Is this something you have had to do personally? And if so, how was that experience? I just want to know. It makes me want to go to Canada. My friend's actually in Canada right now, and he's loving it, but he's not really an offensive guy, so there's that. Miss K, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Trump is untouchable, says EB3000. I do hope so. I really, you know what? I'm going to go to hell for saying this. I really want the wall. I want to see the wall. I want to go touch the wall. I think it's going to be just great, you know, and you know, the four prototypes I saw, I think they could do better. They looked okay, but they're you know, I got a friend who works in San Diego, and he was telling me, he said for a few months he'd be working. They had a machine shop down there, and he said they'd be working and they would hear drilling and digging at night from under them. And they were just all, wonder what that is. And they just went about their work. And then all of a sudden, the cops raid the place and they take down the tunnels and all this stuff. And that's the cartels that actually burrowed a tunnel under the border and were popping up in this field somewhere right by this guy's machine shop. They'd actually gone under it, I believe, or really close to it. And so then the ICE or whoever came in and closed that shit down. But here's the really funny part, okay? So the guy was telling me after they closed it all down, he was all pissed off because their whole shop got filled with rats. Like the rats had been living in the tunnel as they were digging, had gotten in there and bred in the tunnels. And he said that whole area afterwards was just infested with rats. And he was super mad about that. I'm like, well, but they got the cartel guys. He's like, yeah, but now I have these rats. And I'm like, well, that's the cartel's fault. So, all right, let's check chat here, see what is going on. Winterfresh says, a blind woman who predicted 9/11 apparently said Trump isn't going to last full term and said that China is going to fight Japan. Well, I actually hope that is wrong. And you know what? I think I know who you're talking about. I don't remember her name, but I feel like she has been accurate about other things before. Like you said, the 9/11 thing and other things. It's kind of scary. Okay, Miss K says, no, the real world knows nothing about this stuff. Okay. What was that in regard to? I'm sorry, I have Tourette's tonight. Winterfresh says, her name is Baba Venga. I just remembered. I've heard of Baba Yaga. It's like, I think it's, I don't know what language it is, but it means witch. So that's interesting. Okay, Miss K. The 20-something crowd is generally very positive towards compelled speech. Anyone over 35 can't get it right now and sound like Archie Bunker all the time. Number one, the whole, EB3000. The whole thing is scripted. 2, Trump is a time traveler. 3, Trump is an antichrist. And EB3000 says, take your pick. I'm really into the time travel theory. You know about the book, right? The Adventures of Baron Trump, and it was printed in like the 1800s. And what's really scary is if you actually read that, it hits a lot of those what do you call it? Those marks in time that his presidency had hit at that point. So it was really kind of creepy, almost like someone, you know, from our future kind of wrote it and then went back to the past and dropped it off, because it's so, I mean, just the coincidence level there has got to be just through the damn roof. What's it called? Winter Fresh, what's what called? I will pay attention this time. Let's see here. You mean the movie? The movie that Baba Yaga was in was called Baba Yaga, if that's what you're talking about. And what else? I don't know. But yeah, so I can't wait to wait. Hold on. Did I miss a chat here? AKA Ms. K, the 20-something is generally very. No, I read that. I don't know. You know what? It's just, I think everyone that says anything kind of a little too bluntly these days kind of sounds like Archie Bunker. Like, if you speak the truth, you sound like Archie Bunker. I mean, there were things you could say even 10 years ago that you can't say anymore. For example, okay, James Gunn, director of Guardians of the Galaxy, works for Disney, got fired for putting up some inappropriate jokes like 10 plus years ago. This guy used to work for Troma. And if you guys are familiar with Troma, I don't need to say anything else. If you are not, they made a movie called Tromeo and Juliet, and his brother was in that, and his brother gets his legs cut off when 2 trucks crash into each other, and he gets his legs severed between the bumpers. There was like a lesbian love affair in it. It was completely shocking for shocking, the purpose of being shocking. That's just how it was. So yes, there's just a lot that just doesn't fly anymore. You just can't, especially if you're in the mainstream, there's just things you can't say anymore. It's just not cool. AKA Ms. K says that book is so strange. The Trump book. Oh, the book. Sorry. Yeah. Winter Fresh. Didn't Stephen Hawking disprove time travel? You can't disprove something that hasn't been proven, and Einstein says it's possible, and the quantum computer thing is really scary when you start searching into it. And yes, The Adventures of Baron Trump, yes, it is weird as hell. It is so weird. I'm not going to say time travel is currently possible. I'm not going to say it's not currently possible. I'm just going to say it is an interesting thing to talk about. And Stephen Hawking, for all we know, who knows? Maybe he was on the take somewhere. Maybe he was a shill trying to science us into submission. I don't know. I'm just kind of going off on a tangent here. So what else? The quantum. Okay. EB3000, the quantum computer is a grift. Very possibly, but I don't know. And you'd have to be a little more specific by what you mean when you say a grift. Like, do you mean like kind of how a lot of people say the space program is, where it's like it's not real, they're just using it to shovel billions of dollars somewhere that they don't want anyone to know where? Like that? That's possible. Anything's possible. But they did do this, they do have, I believe there's scientific proof of it, where it's like they said they got an atom to basically be in the same, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, to be 2 atoms to be in the same place at the same time, which to me, kind of the only way you could really do that is if it was kind of time travel-y. You know what I'm saying? Like it was existing in the same space but at a prior time. I know it's weird. I don't even understand it myself, so I'm just not going to talk about it. A con. EB3000 says it's a con. Very possibly. You know what? Tell me why you think it's a con. I would absolutely love to hear this, because it has people's panties in a bunch, because they are attached to Google owns one, which that's just no, you should not own that. Google owns one, which basically is like saying the government owns it. I believe a college owns one, and there's a third one somewhere I don't actually remember. Let's see. EB3000 says, I know how to do what the quantum computer does for 1/100th of the money. That's not a con. That's just, or I'm sorry, 1/1000th. Oh no, 100. I can't read the screen of the money. That's not a con. That's just really good business. That's just doing really good business. Winterfresh says, have you heard of the Sumerian test? I have not. EB3000, all of the decryption. Oh, yeah, no, I don't know anything about that. Actually, that is something I have not heard of. EB3000, they do not exist. They don't exist, sorry. Okay, I mean, we've seen them in videos. We've seen them. We've heard people describe how they work. There's places where you can see them in action. If it's not, what is it? Just a gaff? Just basically like something that they've made to what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, you know, like the Fiji mermaid. Is that what we're talking about? The quantum computer's like a Fiji mermaid. Let's see here. They don't do this. The Sumerian text. No, the only Sumerian text I've heard of is like from the Evil Dead movies. I know it there, and I think in some writings of H.P. Lovecraft, who oddly enough people now say is racist. They say because of some personal writings he did 100 years ago that he is now racist, and that the Lovecraft Award for writing should now be changed, and they want to change it to the name of some black lady whose name I don't remember. Probably because she's such a prolific sci-fi writer. That's probably why I don't remember it. But yeah, so that's just some rando trivia I thought I'd throw out since we were talking about Sumerian stuff. Let's see here. Okay, look up the Sumerian text. It explains our origins of our species and discusses a eighth and ninth. Oh yeah, no. Oh gosh, what was the author's name who wrote all about the actual Sumerians from 10,000 years ago? Yes, I'm really into that stuff. I think it's really fun. I've read Chariots of the Gods, Eric von Daniken, and all that fun stuff. I'm really into it. It's so intriguing. What was that guy's name who wrote all those books on the Sumerian stuff? And then they've recently tried to say that his translations were inaccurate. He's, I think, the one who came up with the term Anunnaki, I believe. That was him. I cannot remember his name, but he's written like a dozen or so books. Anunnaki, yeah. EB3000 says the whole point in their explanation is that you can't look at it. If you try to confirm anything the quantum processor did, it destroys the result. Oh my God, that is epic. That is so good. I wish I would have thought of that. That is excellent. It's like, you can't look at it because the second you open it, it's going to be destroyed. So the only proof is no proof. That is, you know what? That is beautiful. That is so good. Let's see here. Winterfresh, my sister reads things. Yeah, you know what? It's some fun stuff to read. There might be some truth to it. There might not be. I have no idea, because you would basically have to figure out if the translations were accurate before you could really, one way or the other say it was right or wrong. Let's see, EB3000, if you open your eyes, the magic won't work. See, I love this. You guys are great. I love this. I cannot think of a better way to spend Saturday. This is epic. It kind of reminds me of Schrodinger's cat, which I've heard described a few different ways, where they say like, well, the only proof is before you open the box. And I've heard it considered a thought experiment by some, and I've heard that Schrodinger did practically experiment with it, which to me just says he was probably a serial killer. You know how they always start out killing animals before they go to people. I don't know. Oh man, that's good though. That is really good. Let's see. Winterfresh says, have you heard of the 48 laws of power? I want to say yes, but if I did, it was a long time ago. So I can't say for sure that I've heard of it. Let's see here. 48 laws of power. Is this? We're not going to like 1488, are we? Is that where we're going with this? Oh man, that'd be kind of funny. But so you know what? And then since we're on the topic of time travel and the Anunnaki and the guy whose name I can't remember who wrote all those books, did you guys hear that that Hitler supposedly had alien technology and built a UFO? I mean, he did build the original cruise missile. That's a fact. He built the first. I don't know if it was what it would be the modern equivalent, or the modern cruise missile, but it was past. What was that called? It was a guided missile. It was the first guided missile. So that was kind of interesting. Let's see, EB3000. Robert. Oh, sorry. Winifred says Robert Greene. No, I'm unfamiliar with. EB3000. I know how they did it. I know how they do the decryption. I know a big secret, and it's tied to several others. Okay, that's kind of how secrets work. They're always interconnected because it's that whole thing. When you lie, you got to cover it up with another lie and another lie, and like kind of like killing people to keep witnesses silent. You got to kill another witness. So terrible, you know. But okay, let's see. Oh, you did. Winterfresh did hear about that. Okay, yeah, no, it's there was a documentary on Netflix, I think, about it called Unsealed Alien Files. They talk about all that stuff. They were talking about how Hitler had alien technology and all this stuff. It's really interesting. I think, you know, I don't know. I was the first time I heard that theory. I happened to be with a fellow writer. We were at a convention. He was doing a signing, and there were people there also doing signings for their books, and their books were paranormal books. And there was a lady across the table from us who had these giant tuning forks, and she would smack the tuning forks and hold them up to people's necks and say, "Oh, now you're in line with Venus." And it was this whole like chakra, female energy thing. And that was the first place I heard about the Hitler and the UFO thing. And so to me, I can never hear about Hitler's UFOs without kind of laughing a little bit, because it's just that whole experience was so hilarious. I mean, it was like living for a weekend in a Napoleon Dynamite style film. So let's check comments here. Okay, and that's it. Are you guys still with me? Are we? Is there anything else you guys want to pitch in? Should we wrap this up? I am intrigued by what EB3000 had to say about knowing all this stuff and these secrets. I don't know if we're getting any more of that, or if that's where that's ending, but that is very intriguing. Oh, wait, we got more comments here. Let's see. EB3000 says, anybody wallet come up missing? No, but believe it or not, a lot of people did empty their wallets that day. There were guys from the Ghost Hunters TV shows there, the old ones who haven't been on forever and a day, the guy who always said, "Oh, this merits a nighttime investigation," and that guy was raking in the bucks, man. He was selling books and DVDs and taking photos. I mean, this was like legit, absolutely friggin' hilarious. So it's a good racket to get in. So if you guys want to do modern grifting, I suggest ghost hunting, because all this other stuff we're talking about kind of ties into that. So there is money to be made there. Let's see here. Winifresh says she is interested. Sorry if I misgendered you. Let's see here. EB3000. I believe it. Dude, it was great. Absolutely hilarious. It was a great weekend. Let's see. I know there was something I was going to talk about with you guys. Yeah, come on, EB3000. I want to know about the secrets. You have me so curious, and it's just completely made my mind go blank, because all I can think about is, okay, so you can do this encryption, and you know the quantum computers are bogus. It's a grift or a gaff, and so give me a little more. Just give me a little bit more. And Winterfresh says, have I heard of astral projection? Absolutely. Absolutely. I've heard of astral projection. I have known people that did it. Honestly, if it's real, it sounds kind of spooky. And I will tell you guys a really wacky story that you have to take with a grain of salt. So basically, I knew this broad back in the day, and she worked at one of those call-in psychic places where you would call in and talk to the psychics or whatever. And this one dude used to call in all the time. And she said he called in through a red box. Now, if you don't know what that is, basically it's a little box you hook your old school phone up to. And when you call through it, it blocks your number. They can't trace you. They probably could with advanced technique, or yeah, but at the time you were basically a ghost, and you could make long distance calls and it wouldn't track it, because back in the day you had to pay extra for long distance. So this guy would call up, and she said he was a black dude and he sounded older, and he said that he was a remote viewer for the US military. And I had heard previously during the Cold War, 70s, 80s, that they were actually, the Russians and the US were experimenting with psychic shit to see if there was anything to that. There were some experiments done, definitely in Russia. There is film footage of it, and some of it's probably fake, I'm sure, but still, here's where we're going. So this guy would call up, and he would do this remote viewing, which is very much like astral projection. You kind of go into this very still state, like you're meditating almost, and then you're able to, with practice, basically put your consciousness almost physically in the room with people and see what they're doing. And so, I mean, come on, that'd be a great way to spy. So, you know, interesting concept, and thought that the US government might be experimenting with it. So, but where it gets weird is she said that this guy was completely accurate with everything. He would be able to say who was in the room, where they were sitting, what they were wearing, like all that stuff, you know, and basically also know what people were doing that he had talked to that had gone home, and describe their bedrooms and parts of their houses and so on and so forth. And I thought, wow, that is really creepy. And he would call all the time and just basically fuck with these phone-in psychic callers, and he couldn't get charged the $2 a minute because he had this red box or whatever. And so I thought that was a really intriguing story. And then the part where the grain of salt part is when I tell you that the broad who told me the story used to work at the psychic hotline, was kind of had what's called schizoaffective disorder, where basically you seem normal, you just don't have a lot of expression, and you kind of do tend to get a little crazy at times. So take that with a grain of salt, but it is an interesting story that's slightly related to what we were talking about. Let's just jump back to the comments, shall we? Let's see here. Winterfresh says, I tried doing it because I wanted ideas to make more rap music and learn about what actually in the past to see if things were covered up, but I haven't had any luck. Can you travel time with astral projection? I thought it was just kind of being able to go, you know, very much like remote viewing, just kind of go, you know, around out of your body. That's what I thought it was. I mean, I didn't know. I have not read anything where you can travel time or dimensions. That is cool if you could, though. That is neat. You can also do that with a tab of acid. Not that I'm suggesting anyone take drugs, but I'm just throwing that out there. Let's see. Happened. Yes. Sorry. Okay. EB3000. I want to get into it, but not typing. I want credit for being the first one to say it all. If you want to do a live stream tomorrow, I'll talk about it on camera for my video and your stream. All right, man. So tell you what, I will email you when I get offline here, and just give me some bullet points so I know you're not going to just pop on here and say, you know, a bunch of racial slurs or something. And yeah, sounds good, man. We'll talk about that. And if you do jump on here and say a bunch of racial slurs, that actually would kind of be funny. I'm not encouraging that behavior. I'm also not encouraging that behavior. Let's see. Winifresh says, I want to do a collab. I only have 35 subs and you seem fun. Well, thank you. You seem fun too. You guys are sticking with me through this boring shit, and I appreciate it. I think you guys are really fun to talk to. So that's awesome. What do you guys think? Should we wrap this up? I'm kind of out of ideas. It's been fun though. You guys want to talk about anything else? Let me know. Let me know. And if not, then we'll go ahead and we'll piece out of this. I think we've been going for at least an hour now, maybe a little longer. I am not sure. So let's see. I have 20. I don't. If you guys don't have a lot of subs, I don't care. That's fine, as long as you guys have something cool to talk about. Doesn't matter. The guy who was supposed to jump on here tonight has 0 subs. He's just an entertaining bastard, you know. And we don't get along on everything, so it's really fun. Because sometimes we'll get into it. So, you know, as long as it's entertaining, as basically, and let me say that as long as it entertains me, I really don't care. I'm sitting here doing an hour-long stream with just you guys, and I don't care. This is fun. This is what I want to do. So, anything else? We're going to talk about anything else? If you want, hold on. Let me see here. EV3000. Had the channel for 7 years too. Okay, you know what? You gotta. I've had one of my other channels I've had for about as long, and I think I have 4 subs or 3 subs on that one. So yeah, if you don't really push your channel and get on to other social media outlets like Twitter and Facebook and tell people to go to YouTube, you're not going to get traffic because that's Google don't do that, yo. Let's see here. Maybe 3000. Cool. Me too. Check out the vids if you don't mind profanity. I do not mind profanity at all. I just don't like to cuss on my channel because YouTube and Google has. I got a video. I did a video on the Charlottesville thing a while ago. I don't know if you were here for that. But I did 2 videos. I did a 20-minute video and a 40-minute video because I was hearing stuff coming from the news. And I was like, what is going on with this? And I couldn't figure it out. And the reports were all mixed up. So I started doing research and really digging into this. And it seemed really suspicious, to say the least. I can't come to I never came to a conclusion. I don't have a conclusion other than shit just didn't add up. I'm just going to say that. Well, anyway, so I put the first video up. It did very well. The second video did very well. And YouTube struck the first video repeatedly and finally pulled it down for bullying, which was really funny because I actually didn't use profanity and I was trying to be super professional and newsy on there. And then they knocked the second one down with copyright. They just kept hitting it with copyright over and over to where I basically had to hide it just to keep the channel going. So yeah, no, I'm cool with profanity. I just don't do it because Google, for some reason, does not like my channel. Probably because I, you know, talk about shit that I'm not supposed to. So there's that whole thing. Let me jump back in here to the comments, see what you guys are saying. EB3000 says, I have one from 2006, but I forgot the password. I think you can do the password reset where he says forgot password, but you probably don't have the associated email anymore. I've done that repeatedly. Let's see here. And Winterfresh says, I made a video discussing the fat acceptance movement on my other channel, Winterfresh second channel. Awesome. I absolutely love the fat acceptance movement. It is so great. Kind of in an ironic way, but I do love the cringe. I love the cringe. I don't know. I mean, I know people who are morbidly obese, and I got a friend, and I've just have been like, dude, you need to lose weight. You're gonna die, dude. And he has like a kid now and all this stuff, and he's like, no, I'm fine. My doctor says I'm totally healthy. I'm like, you are? He's like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. And then he's like getting up. He's like, oh man, my fucking knees hurt, man. My knees are blowing out on me. But yet he's perfectly healthy. So I'm like, all right, dude, whatever, man. So I love that shit. I love it. So, all right, guys, I am gonna probably just go ahead and peace out, unless, like I said, unless there's anything else you wanna discuss or whatever. And EB3000, I will email you a little later. Check that. I'm totally down to do whatever. Like I said, as long as it amuses me, I don't care. And I like what you've said so far. It's got my curiosity. And when it fresh, I will check out your channel. I really want to see stuff about fat acceptance. Sounds entertaining. Let's see, EB3000. I got kicked. Oh, come. Oh, this is going to be good. I'm thinking EB3000. I got kicked off of Twitter last year for telling the young. Oh my God. Okay, for telling the Young Turks and a Kasparian that her fat shaming was triggering my penis. Oh, bravo, EB3000. That will get you kicked right off of Twitter, but man, is that, I wish that, tell me you have a screenshot of that. Tell me there is a screenshot. I really want to see that. When Fresh says, email me and check out my vids. Do I have your email, Winterfresh? Did you put that in there? I have not been diligently scanning the comments here. I will cop to that. So or are you on Twitter? Is anyone on Twitter? It's just the three of us. So okay, awesome. I got it, guys. I am going to, you know what? I want to make sure. Let me see if I can. Let me make sure. Okay. Cancel. All right, cool. Then what I will do is I will hit you guys up later. And in the meantime, I'm going to peace out. It's been awesome hanging and doing this fun stuff. And I'm going to try and make this more of a regular thing. So, all right. It's been great. Have a good night, everyone. And I will talk to you later.